The engines before and after restyling on the Hyundai Santa Fe are completely different. We can definitely say that the pre-restyling Santas used the engines from their predecessor, 2.0D 186 horsepower, D4 HA, 2.2D 200 horsepower, D4 HB. In any case, the 4th generation Santa Fe is equipped with a 4-cylinder turbo diesel. Before restyling, the 2.2-liter engine was most often found, and the 2-liter brother was much less common. If the transmission is automatic and only 8-speed, pre-styling diesel engines are cast iron, with a timing chain drive. There are two chains 2436112F000 and 2435112F000. These are, without a doubt, cool motors. They have no systemic problems. On the 3rd generation Santa there were problems with the cylinder head cracking along the glow plug sockets, but nothing like that happened on the 4th generation cars. But there have been cases of cracking of the return line of the injectors. These are the tubes that connect all the injectors to each other. This problem was resolved under warranty. At times, these diesel engines begin to bother you with extraneous noises under the hood. It's unlikely that the timing chains are rattling. On this issue, it is worth checking the overrunning clutch 373222F001 of the generator and the crankshaft damper pulley 231242F602. We also have a detailed review of the D4 HB turbo diesel on our channel. All the details about it are there. 2.4 GDi 188 horsepower, G4KJ, 2.0 T-GDi 235 horsepower, G4KH. The petrol 4s available for this generation of Santa Fe before restyling are also old. They belong to the Theta 2 family. It will be either a direct injection naturally aspirated 2.4 GDi or a 2-liter T-GDi turbo engine. These are also related engines, with a timing chain drive and without hydraulic compensators. By the way, they have the same timing chain, 243212G111. Such motors were offered with 6-speed. Automatically, these engines are very popular on YouTube, thanks to a couple of dozen videos. It is believed that they are hopelessly cranking liners and should all go through an overhaul. And the turbocharged G4KH has a problem with the piston elements breaking off under the oil scraper rings. Although in fact, tens of times more of these engines have run more than 400,000 kilometers without opening or replacing the timing chain, and valve adjustment must be carried out if such an engine runs on gas. 3.5 MPI 280 horsepower, G6DC. Rarely the 4th generation Santa Fe is found with the 3.5-liter V6, which was installed on the 2 previous generations of this crossover. The G6DC engine has a light alloy cylinder block. The camshafts are driven by 2 chains, 243123C100, and there are no hydraulic compensators in the valve drive. This engine on the 4th generation Santa made friends with the 8-speed. Automatically, this is a good engine, but dirty radiators can easily cause it to overheat and cause the piston rings to stick. 2.5 MPI 180 horsepower, G4KM, 2.5 GDi 194 horsepower, G4KM, 2.5 T-GDi 280 horsepower, G4KP. After restyling, Santa Fe received completely new engines. No objective statistics on breakdowns have yet been collected on them. Let's share everything that is known about their design and possible troubles. These power units belong to the Theta 3 series, reminiscent of a deep modernization of Theta 2 engines with the elimination of all their weak points. The Koreans also called these and other new engines Smartstream, which means smart flow. It is not clear, of course, what kind of flow we are talking about. 4-cylinder gasoline engines, even after restyling, are equipped with a 6-speed gearbox. Automatically, the cylinder blocks of these engines are naturally light alloy. Lightweight cast iron liners are placed in them during casting. The timing drive uses a thin-toothed chain, 243212S000, 243212S100. The Theta 3 engines now have hydraulic compensators. An intake manifold of variable geometry and an oil pump with 2 performance levels are used. There are versions with both MPI distributed injection and combined ones, when there are both GDi direct injection injectors and MPI distributed injection injectors. This combination is used on both naturally aspirated and turbo engines. What is known about these engines? You won't believe it, but by an incredible coincidence, they came off the production line with defective pistons, in which the drilling to drain oil from the grooves of the oil scraper rings was not made through. The owners of the Kia K5 and Hyundai Sonata were the first to suffer grief. The engine's 8 liters of oil literally from the first kilometers. However, these cars were the very first to receive 2.5-liter engines back in 2018 and 2019. There is a service bulletin listing all the VINs. By 2020, when the Santa Fe was updated, these engines were no longer equipped with defective pistons. At the same time, the risk remains that low-quality gasoline will lead to melting of the catalyst and the appearance of ceramic dust, which the pistons will rub along the cylinder walls until they scuff. 3.5D 300 horsepower, G6DT. 3.5TD 380 horsepower, G6DS. A rare new 3.5-liter engine from the Lambda 3 family is also called Smartstream. It has a light alloy block with cast iron liners, a timing drive with a pair of chains, 244403 and 101, hydraulic compensators in the valve drive and combined fuel injection. There are injectors in both the cylinder head and the intake manifold. This motor is coupled with an 8-speed automatically. So far no problems have been noticed with this engine. However, few people have seen him in our area. 2.2 Smartstream D 202 horsepower, D4He. Another Smartstream engine is diesel. The old cast iron and chain D4HP has been replaced by the D4He. It has a light alloy cylinder block with cast iron liners and a timing belt, 243512R000, drive. One turbine with an electromechanical geometry drive, a dual-circuit EGR system, a 2-stage oil pump, 2 balancers in the cylinder block, an electronic thermostat, a vacuum pump placed in one module with an oil pump. All this is located under the crankshaft. And the crankshaft itself is located offset relative to the vertical plane of the cylinders, moved 5 mm from the longitudinal axis. Bosch fuel system with electromagnetic injectors. Nothing bad has happened to this turbodiesel in 3 years. Although on early copies the high-pressure EGR heat exchanger 284162R100 cracked, soot appeared along the weld. This heat exchanger is located on the front top of the engine, directly under the decorative cover. By the way, we note that the low-pressure circuit of the EGR system takes purified exhaust gases, i.e. immediately after the catalyst and particulate filter. I wonder what will happen after cutting out the catalyst? Soot will fly into the intake through the compressor impeller, through the intercooler and then into the cylinders. Obviously, along with the cutout particulate filter, you will have to turn off the entire low EGR circuit and somehow rewrite the engine control program. And to completely please fans of diesel Santa Fe's, Korean engineers paired the 2.2 Smartstream D engine with a preselective 8-speed gearbox transmission, the so-called robot. By the way, Smartstream D 2.2 motors. We also took part in the recall campaign regarding fuel pipes. Here they changed the steel supply pipes, because a leak occurs at the connection above the plastic timing belt cover. Diesel fuel can get under the casing at the joint, and then it's not far from the belt. It's time to talk about automatic transmissions. A6LF16 street automatic transmission. The 6-speed transmission is familiar from the previous generation Santa Fe. What can I say about her? All of them are designed for the weight and power of the corresponding Hyundai and Kia models. They do not like aggressive driving, slipping and off-road conditions. It is best to change the ATF SB4 type oil, 04500 to 00115, every 50,000 kilometers. This, plus gentle driving, will help it travel even more than 300,000 kilometers without major repairs. For a partial replacement you will need about 6 liters of ATF. And the oil filter, 4,632,126,000, can only be changed by opening the housing of this transmission. Aggressive driving can lead to destruction of the differential. Dirty oil leads to hydraulic failures and burning of clutches. A8LF1, A8LF2 8-street automatic transmission. The 8-speed transmissions haven't given much cause for concern on the Santa Fe so far, but there are cases of destruction of the torque converter lockup clutch during the warranty period. There are many cases of warranty replacement and even repairs at your own expense due to kicks and the appearance of chips in the oil. By the way, if 8th Street the automatic transmission kicks when slowing down while shifting into first gear, you need to partially change the oil and set the level correctly. It is also advisable to reset the transmission adaptations. In general, we can only recommend careful operation and oil changes every 50,000 kilometers. ATF here is of the same grade SB4, 04500 to 00115. The filter 463214G100 is located deep behind the valve body. D8LF1 8-street preselective gearbox. The preselective transmission for the restyled diesel engine on the Santa Fe 4 is called D8LF1. This unit has a wet, i.e. oil, immersed multiplate clutch and electric oil pump. This transmission is filled with special oil of 2 grades, WDGO1, 3.5 liters, in the mechanical part, and WDHO1, 2.5 liters, in the mechatronic part. 2 oil filters are used, one deep inside, 463212N000, and the second, F481972H000, is also inside right on the valve body. The oil needs to be changed according to regulations every 80,000 kilometers or even more often. First 8th Street, the pre-selective for Hyundai and Kia turned out to be rather damp. There were quite a few cases of repairs under warranty and flashing. At the moment, it does not fail and serves normally. The all-wheel drive transmission of Korean crossovers has still not gotten rid of the problem with moisture and dirt getting into the splines of the intermediate shaft connecting the gearbox with the angular gearbox, transfer case, and the axle to the right front wheel. If lubricant has not been added to this spline joint, this must be done. And you have to do this at your own expense at specialized service stations. As a rule, dealers do not do this. Yes, you will have to remove the transfer case in order to service the poorly lubricated and poorly protected from moisture splines. Santa Fe 4 inherited a problem from its predecessor. The rear axle clutch drum cracks along the weld connecting it to the hub, which houses the spline bushing. Carefully and firmly welding these parts helps solve the problem without buying an expensive flimsy drum. The oil in gearboxes should be updated approximately every 80,000 kilometers. The rear and front gearboxes must be filled with API GL5 specification gear oil. From 500 to 700 grams fits there. DTF1 TF0870 oil is poured into the rear axle connection coupling. About 400 grams are placed. The braking system on pre-restyling Santa Fe's is weak. The brake discs and pads could be larger. The problem is that the pads wear out very quickly, within 20,000 to 40,000 kilometers, depending on how you drive. What's worse is that the brake discs become deformed due to overheating. All this was changed on many machines under warranty. Pre-styling Santa Fe 4s are sometimes disturbed by strange noise and rattling heard from under the bottom while the engine is running. The source may be tubes located on the bottom along the left threshold. They are covered with plastic protection. The fuel pipes, brake pipes and the urea supply pipe are laid together there. They can be insulated and wrapped in soft material to prevent rattling. By the way, fuel pipes can rattle in the area of the engine shield. The spare tire of the Santa Fe 4 hangs in the rear overhang of the body. Actually, like the third generation car. And the problem here is the same. The mechanism for lowering and raising the spare tire is cable-based and easily sours so that the spare tire cannot be torn off from the bottom. It is recommended to lower the spare tire at least once a year, lubricate the cable and lift it into place. The fourth generation Santa Fe suspensions before and after restyling are not structurally different, but the spare part numbers are all different. As far as the levers at the front and rear, the steering knuckles and the stabilizer rods are concerned, the difference is hard to notice. But the subframes are completely different. The stabilizer torsion bars are curved a little differently. Before and after restyling, ball joints 5453OS1000 and 5453OP2000 can be unscrewed and replaced separately. They are inexpensive at $30 to $40 in the original, but there are much fewer substitutes for restyling. Overall, the Santa Fe 4's suspension doesn't bother me at all. However, on restyled Santa Fe's, the rear shock absorber supports 55310S1150, and the shock absorbers themselves, 55307S1A0, were replaced under warranty due to a knocking noise occurring in them. Original mounts will cost $35, and rear shock absorbers will cost $430, while only original ones are available. There are literally no complaints about the quality of the body paint. What is sometimes frustrating are the rust spots where pebbles have hit the roof panel and penetrated it to the metal. Over time, pale spots of corrosion appear on the door moldings along the thresholds. The main headlights of the fourth generation Santa Fe before and after restyling are located in the bumper quite low and vertical. Owners complain that road dirt completely covers their windows. In slushy conditions, the headlights literally go blind. Washers are not provided in principle. By the way, if the headlights sweat, then you need to throw silica gel bags into them. You can even buy original ones 921252W255 they will absorb moisture. You can place them in each main headlight after unscrewing the top cover. Santa Fe has a problem with the trunk servos. After 3 to 4 years of operation they begin to act up and then stop working completely. If this happened during the warranty period, they will be replaced with the same ones. The problem will come back later. The point is that wires whose braiding is hard and inelastic simply break off. Some technicians offer wiring repairs because the servos themselves, 81841S1600, 81831S1600, are priced at $500-$800 each, often before restyling. The Santa Fe 4 develops creaking and rustling noises in the area of the power window remote control on the driver's door armrest. Here it helps to remove the entire block and paste it with anti-creaking around the perimeter. Sometimes rustling and clicking noises appeared from the steering column area. The dealers helped here, they changed the entire steering column under warranty. It has a factory-recognized problem with bearing wear. Even under warranty, dealers eliminated the play in the driver's seat. To do this, they added washers at the point where the seat was attached to the crossmember.